Gluteus medius, you see just deep to gluteus maximus here. And the gluteus medius is actually going to originate on the upper half of the posterior aspect of the ilium bone. If you trace its fibers down, you'll see it insert onto the greater trochanter. And what it's actually going to be involved with is abduction, so moving this femur away from the body. And also it's going to be involved with medial rotation, so turning inward. The superior gluteal nerve is also the nerve that will be innervating the gluteus medius. Gluteus minimus we see over here on the left side of the screen, so it's deep to both of these other muscles here, so it's the smallest one. And it's actually going to originate on the inferior half of the posterior aspect of the ilium. And you can actually see that happening down here, the kind of this bottom half of the backside of the ilium. And if you trace its fibers down here, you're going to see it also insert onto the greater trochanter of the femur. It's going to have the exact same action as the gluteus medius, where it will be involved in abduction, abduction, moving this femur away, and also medial rotation. And the same nerve, the superior gluteal nerve, is what is going to be innervating this muscle. Now, this is a simplified diagram just to help us understand our next muscles before we get into the nitty-gritty of all of them. So on the right side of the screen, we see our gluteus minimus right here, the small one. So we have removed the gluteus maximus and gluteus medius from this picture. We're just starting at gluteus minimus. So just inferior to this, we see our piriformis right here. So if we were to go ahead and draw our sciatic nerve, it's going to be doing something similar to this right here. Just like so. And you're going to see it dropping down just below this muscle. So if you trace this big nerve up here, you're going to actually find when it disappears, the muscle just above it is that piriformis muscle. So use that sciatic nerve to your advantage to figure out where you are. Just below piriformis, we see our next group of three here. We have our superior gemellus, obturator internus, and then the inferior gemellus, the small one. So these three work in a group. And then just inferior by itself, we see this four-sided muscle, the Quadratus Femoris. Now, in reality, with the cadaver, this is going to be a little closer to what you're going to see, even minus all the nerves and even minus all the blood vessels. So there's going to be a lot going on in a small space here. So you want to make sure you use your landmarks to your advantage. So if we were to go ahead and color in a landmark that we are going to use to our advantage, we're actually going to have our sciatic nerve dropping down right about here. So tracing this up, if we were working on a cadaver, if we trace the sciatic nerve up here, right where it disappears, the muscle above it is our piriformis. We see that little triangular shaped muscle here. So now we know where we're at. We can use our three gluteal muscles as well, maximus, medius, and minimus down here. But when we talk about this piriformis muscle, it's actually going to originate on the pelvic surface of the sacrum, so almost that inside of the sacrum itself. And you can trace its fibers as it also will insert onto the greater trochanter, but specifically the top of the greater trochanter. And what its action is, what it does, is it also is going to be primarily doing lateral rotation of the thigh. So similar to what we saw with gluteus maximus. Now the nerve that will innervate piriformis is actually the obturator internus nerve. Now that we have piriformis figured out, we're going to take away sciatic nerve, just get it out of the way here. Now we're going to work in our group of three here. So our first one is the superior gemellus. And superior gemellus is actually going to originate on the ischial spine, which you can actually see that spine sticking out right there. If you follow the fibers, you're going to see it also insert into the greater trochanter, but it's going to do it through the tendon of the muscle below it, the obturator internus muscle. So it actually insert through its tendon, and it'll insert into that greater trochanter again. And it's also going to be involved in lateral rotation of the femur, and it'll be innervated by the obturator internus nerve.